Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this video will be the first of 3 Chaffle videos that I am doing for people with special dietary restrictions or allergies. And this particular video is going to be a dairy-free Chaffle. Now, stop right there. You, that person that's getting ready to type, you can't call this a Chaffle because it doesn't have cheese in it. Just relax. Chaffle, it seems, has started to become sort of a catch-all term for any sort of low-carb or keto waffle. Now, I know it doesn't have cheese in it, or chicken, or chocolate, or chunks of stuff, so we can't probably call it a Chaffle officially, but I'm still going to call it a Chaffle just because I want it to show up in search engines. And speaking of Chaffles, check out this totally sweet shirt. Feed me Chaffles. This came from one of my viewers, Mike Palmer. Mike has a number of really cool keto designs out on his store on Redbubble. I'll include the link down in the description. So if you want some cool keto gear, whether that's shirts or coffee mugs or notebooks or a shower curtain, you can find it there. Give Mike some love and get yourself some sweet keto gear. I'm going to do 3 different variations of this recipe. The first is just going to be the base. I want you to think of this as sort of the mostly flavor neutral bread type Chaffle. Then we're going to do a savory and a sweet Chaffle, but the great thing about this base is you can do whatever you want with it. You want to add some everything but the bagel seasoning? Go ahead. You want to add some vanilla? Knock yourself out. Well, not really, just figuratively. You know what? Let's get to making this. We'll start with the dry ingredients, and whenever I have xanthan gum in a recipe, I always make sure that I combine it with my dry ingredients first so that I can avoid any clumping. I have 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and then just a 2-finger pinch of sea salt. Mix these together. For our wet ingredients, we'll start with 1 large egg, which I will beat using my trusty plunger whisk. I'm then going to add 1 tablespoon of coconut cream. Now, yes, I realize I'm holding this can upside down. That's because I opened it upside down to drain out the coconut water sort of liquid, leaving only the cream. You'll want to make sure that this cream is at room temperature. I had this in the fridge for a while, so it might take a little bit of extra effort to mix it in. And then 2 tablespoons of almond butter. We'll whisk this together until smooth. Then we'll sprinkle in our dry ingredients and whisk those in. 2 things to be aware of with this batter. The first is it puffs up quite a bit, so be conservative as you're filling up your tray. Honestly, that much is probably going to be enough to make an entire Chaffle. It really fills out. Next, these cook pretty fast. I would say on the order of about 3 minutes, so don't walk away from them. It's been 3 minutes, and the Chaffles are looking good. Now, my strategy is never to pay attention to the light on the Dash Mini. I always wait until I see essentially no steam coming out of the waffle maker. You can see this one I overfilled just slightly. We'll let these cool while we start our next batch, which will be some sweet Chaffles. I have the exact same base recipe, but I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of maple flavored stevia. Whisk that in. Probably mixing with the spatula is a little bit quicker and cleaner. Divide equally between 2 dash minis. And let them cook for about 3 minutes. It has been about 3 minutes. These ones puffed up a little bit more. I'm not sure why. Probably because I just didn't center the batter real well. And for the final batch, I'm going to do a savory chaffle. Again, the same base mixture, but I'm going to add a tablespoon of these hemp hearts with chipotle, onion, and garlic. Mix that in with the spatula. And into our dash mini. And once again, we are at about the 3-minute mark. These smell really good. Pop them out onto a cooling rack. Then we'll give them a minute to set and have a taste. First we have just the base dairy-free chaffle. It's not super crumbly, not super moist, somewhere in between texturally. The flavor is pretty unremarkable, and I don't mean that as an insult. I think that this would make a fine sandwich bread where you don't want the bread to be the star of the show. Perfectly good delivery mechanism if you're looking for a bread. Next, we have our sweet chaffle. This is some pretty good stuff right here. You know, it's not quite McGriddle, but I could easily see putting a sausage patty between a couple of these, along with an egg, and having a pretty nice breakfast sandwich that's both sweet and savory. And finally, the one with the hemp hearts that smelled really good. Let's see how it tastes. I want to make a roast beef and cheddar sandwich with this right now. This tastes really good. So there you go. If you have an issue with dairy and have been dying to have a chaffle, you now have basically a playground that you can experiment with. Take that base recipe, have some fun with it. If you play around with this recipe and come up with either a sweet or savory version that you think is especially great, post it down in the comments so that we can all try it as well. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.